Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Parris. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Good morning, Devo. Good morning, Carvey. Man, we're about a week away? Maybe about a week and a half away? About a week and a half away. Oh, okay.
Officially 50. May 6th, I'll be turning 50.
Okay.
You just gonna let that ride, right? Because you know better, right?
I don't know. I'm just if you.
Oh yeah,
you
man.
convince me you gonna be 50.
No.
So you gonna be 50 again?
No. Again.
What's that?
Hey, look who just walked in, man. So nice of you to join us, man. I mean, this guy here,
Man.
never quite. Don't come over here, man. I mean, you know what's happening with you.
You're gonna. We was talking about talking about do-rags yesterday?
Oh man, and this cat come in with a
With
do-rag.
do-rag.
We said people wasn't doing that no more, but
Right.
we forgot there was DJ the Protege.
Yeah. What's happening, DJ?
Y'all ain't got no hair, so y'all don't need
Right.
no do-rag.
We wasn't talking about us.
We was just talking about do-rags in general.
Right.
But y'all talking on something that y'all
Have no
ain't
business
got
talking
nothing-
about.
Yeah,
There was a
man.
point. No, we
Well,
talking
we
about back in the day, the original. I mean, people did the silk scarves because the dudes who had the processes,
Right.
you laid it down. But then we were doing pantyhose.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
the
laying down.
stockings. I
Yeah.
don't know why he had to say pantyhose. I mean, stockings would have been.
I knew what he was talking about, though.
Yeah, it was pantyhose.
Some people
I know
still-
that's what they called, Keith, but
Some people do
the
that
kids
now
are
as
in
a
the
last
car
result.
right now.
Oh, okay.
They do that now as a last result. You don't do
that.
this. You get the do-rag.
You don't choose to
Uh-huh.
use pantyhose. You choose to get the right stuff.
You more so
So when your money funny,
yeah.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
you know, mama got or grandmama got a old pair of stockings in there that she done ran on her way to church.
Yeah.
Because it used to be.
Leave it
Yeah,
alone.
well,
Keith.
no, let's just do the
alone,
history.
Keith. Young Carvey wants to know why they are called pantyhose.
Because it's hosiery, and it used to be that they were stockings, and stockings were attached to a garter, right?
Mhm.
Garter belt, and so they would hold up the stockings. And someone then came up with the bright idea: why don't we just attach the stockings to basically panties?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's what I assumed.
and that's what happened. But a lot of women were experiencing toxic shock syndrome because the nylon doesn't allow that area to breathe. So if you see, and I haven't seen pantyhose in a while.
Aroma.
No, but women actually
What
got
did you
sick.
just say? I was looking out the window. What did you just say about
So
the
it,
aroma?
it must have been an aroma,
Aromatherapy?
aroma permeating the room.
Yeah, well, it couldn't breathe. It couldn't breathe. So
Right.
nothing's getting out, nothing's getting in. But then there was toxic shock syndrome.
Well, the whole concept of the garter was for nothing to get in, right?
No,
No, that's the chastity I'm thinking
the
about.
chastity belt.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. You know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
So
You know what that is, Carvey?
Chastity belt.
Yeah.
So what they ended up doing was they put a piece of cotton in the crotch area,
Right.
so then it could breathe.
And we got on this subject how?
We're
Because
talking
y'all
about
talking about
do-rags.
do-rags, man.
Oh,
Again,
Do-rags with pantyhose, and you asked why they
Two
were
people that's
pantyhose.
bald talking about do-rags.
How women shouldn't come out the house
with the bonnet.
With the bonnet.
Yeah.
on.
Oh, no, they shouldn't.
Yeah. But you can come out with a do-rag.
Yeah.
But the women shouldn't come out with a bonnet.
Mm-mm.
Is that a double standard?
No. No, that's not no double standard.
It might be.
A bonnet covers up your whole head. We're not talking about an actual wrap. A bonnet,
Are
you
really
supposed to go
trying
to sleep.
Keith, is
A
he
bonnet,
really
you
trying to-
take a shower in that,
I
you
ain't
go to
helping
bed in that.
I ain't helping him. He helped yourself there, son.
And trust me, no pass is given on that one.
Right.
I don't care about that.
you
Women
author
would tell
that.
you that women shouldn't come outside with bonnets on their
Well,
head.
that same woman would then in turn say you shouldn't come out with a do-rag on.
I ain't never heard no woman say that.
What?
I ain't never heard no 414-444-5250.
He looking for
Is
some
there
help
an
now.
issue with
Help.
men
All
wearing
right,
do-rags?
so sisters call in. Should men wear do-rags in public?
I wore-
women wear bonnets.
We've been on YouTube and Facebook Live for a while now. Every program that I'm on, they see me with the do-rag on. Ain't nobody said in
Not
the
all the time.
comments,
No,
hey,
no,
take the do-rag off. Ain't nobody said
Well, they're
that.
not gonna do that.
They could.
For one, it's
I mean, they got
pre-recorded now
y'all.
at
They
that
got
point.
y'all for that anyway. Because whenever I
This-
remember,
But I think it is a double standard, man.
Hey, okay,
I think it's.
I don't think so.
I mean, it's no different than and we talked about this the other day as well. I mean, back with the Jerry curl. I mean, didn't you? I know I did. Talk about people that ran around with the plastic cap on their head, looking all nasty and dripping and do round.
You would have only been
I was
about 2
born.
or 3.
I was born in '92, man.
Yeah, he
So
he missed. He missed.
if
he
you were
missed the
still
Jerry
wearing,
curl.
if you were still wearing a Jerry curl,
You was a
something was
bad
wrong with you.
Who?
in the 90s,
I was born in '92, so when I
Man,
Man,
when
I
I
know people
when,
still got the
when
Jerry
I got
curl
the
today.
when I got
Yeah.
the thinking about stuff and all of that,
This cat that still
it was
got it today.
in
What are
the,
you
it was
talking
in the
about?
early 2000s.
and,
Yeah,
based on your hair, you wouldn't have had a Jerry curl anyway.
because that
because-
just wasn't my style.
Well, but I think also your hair.
I had the Philly fro, I had the ball fade,
Okay,
you know.
you did the Philly fade.
Okay. Just the Philly fro.
I did the Philly fade.
I
when
did the
still had
ball
hair.
fade because Ray Allen used to have the ball
Mhm.
fade, so I wanted to be like Ray Allen when I was little. So I had the ball fade because of Ray Allen.
What number did you wear in high school?
I wore 15 and 32. I mean, and 34.
Why'd you wear 15?
They just gave it to me. Well, it was the only.
I know that
Because
feeling.
all of the other numbers was weak anyway.
Okay.
I was a freshman on varsity, so
Okay.
I was last to pick my number, but I still got a quality number, and that was around the time when Melo was still a superstar.
That's interesting because I forgot about how you got your numbers. It was seniority,
Mhm,
right? Seniors get first pick, juniors, sophomore. You were a freshman.
mhm.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't 34. My senior year, I wore 24, and obviously, you know why 24.
No.
Kobe.
Y'all mentioned like Jerry curls. I know like in the early 2000s movies, I used to see like a lot of bald heads.
Right.
Because it's probably Jordan. That in the early 2000s, they still had 90s remnants of them. So
That's
the
interesting.
ball head was a big thing in the 90s.
Because I went to like shaving my head 2 weeks before 2 months before I got married.
The Gumpy
And someone said, "Oh,
wasn't in,
Jordan shaved his." I'm like, okay.
Well, I'm still in denial. I mean, it hurts me every time I have to cut my hair, man.
Really?
And don't say what hair.
We're-
Just
we're,
leave it alone. Stop, DJ. Just leave it alone.
No. I was gonna say,
Because I remember the days when I had my curl
do you
down
got
on my
do
shoulders.
you got a patch or
I got a
is
patch.
it like Uncle Phil or
No, it's not like Uncle Phil. It's a martini glass.
oh, it ain't that bad then.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
You can still line it up.
No,
You can't.
no, there's no lining left
Mm.
in the top right here. I cut it this morning to make certain you had nothing to talk about. Like, dude, let it go, let it go.
Nah, I ain't like that. You know?
Yeah, you know, pass is given. Isn't
No
that what
pass
you
is
said?
given.
No, I ain't like that because Father Time is undefeated.
You're right.
know?
Last time I checked.
So
But it's interesting because I remember my senior year, we were gunning in the dorm,
Mhm.
and my guy Angel Pichardo said, "Oh, forget you. What about you losing your hair?" I'm 21. What? And I looked up, and it was standing out. I had some great barbers, though. They could conceal. My boy Dominique, Big Dominique, man, he hooked me up, boy. I would go out, and then he was at Jenkins. And
I
then
go by him. He's my barber.
Is that? Oh man, I love Dominique. Man.
Yeah,
Dominique hooked me up.
Chief of police comes by there. Several of us go by
Dominique
there.
cut some hair, man. And
You,
then
where do you go now?
I
A
don't-
bathroom?
I don't bathroom. Yeah.
did he shave, man?
No, I understand.
You
Dominic
know,
would
but-
love to see you.
So I remember coming looking like I'd been in a knife fight the first time I shaved my hair.
Mm.
And I went by Rhonda's, and we're gonna get married. This is February. We get married in April. You did what? Oh my God! It takes some time, and I wonder.
And shout out to Miss Rhonda because her and my girlfriend they did a marathon this past weekend.
She said that she didn't see her though.
Yeah, because they never met.
Okay, were you
It
there?
might have been right next to each other.
No,
I thought you were supposed to be there for support.
I was in Appleton. I had a tournament.
Coaching.
Hmm
How'd you do?
We had miscommunication. That's what that was.
Is that right?
How'd the tournament go for you?
It was solid. We went 2-1, and then the last team didn't show up, so I don't really count the last game. Technically 3-1, but it was a forfeit. So
Okay, so you guys won the tournament.
no, this was like a showcase. This is it's different now. So this tournament is just building into the standings for it's gonna be a like March Madness type tournament in a couple of months in Minnesota. So yeah.
Okay.
I was wondering last night, this kid, J.C. Lathan, that was from Oak Creek and played at Waukesha Memorial. And I think he got drafted by the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
But he's from Oak Creek. He's a tackle. But I wonder if he's related
Football
to Lathan.
town.
Yeah, he was. And it was funny. I saw this woman at the breakfast. And again, thank you for covering for me a couple Fridays ago. And she was from Waukesha Memorial. And I told her, you know what? I could never find that school. We go out there and play. We go out there at night. I didn't know. I think I drove by and went, oh, that's Waukesha Memorial. So then he went to what is that, INC in Florida.
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he got to
IMG.
and then he got to Alabama. Look, if you play for the University of Alabama, chances are you're going to be playing on Sundays.
No.
Oh, yeah. You're going to be playing on Sundays because the level of talent.
That should be a documentary. The number of players that didn't go to the NFL.
Yeah, but
that would be a good documentary.
If you're playing in the SEC, you got a good shot at the pros. You really do. And I'm talking, there's dudes right now who are not playing, but with the transfer portal, you can go someplace and play. But it used to be there was dudes sitting there, man. They didn't get a run till their senior year.
Yeah.
And then they second round, first round pick. But if they playing, that's why I watch the SEC and the Big Ten. Because if they're playing in the SEC, Big Ten, usually I'm talking about the better players, they're playing on Sunday.
Right.
Those dudes are, just they biding their time. But I guess he's going to be good. A lot of tackles taken in the first round.
Unless you go to Northwestern,
Hey, Northwestern has been pimping the Big Ten because Northwestern, especially football, I mean, they're not going to get a bowl game, but they get the revenue.
Right.
So, but the basketball team, they made a nice little run in the NCAA tournament.
When?
They won one game.
When?
Didn't they win one game?
This year?
Yeah, I thought they did.
Northwestern ain't make no tournament.
I thought they made the tournament this year. We'll see. All right. I'll pull up if Northwestern made the tournament. All right. And just
did you have a jury curl?
No. No, man.
I don't think I would have had a jerry curl. The one I would say it was one style when I was a child that it was atrocious looking back on it, but when I was a kid, I used to have dreams about having that. It was you would have your hair like a fro, but then you would like twist it into like puffs. As a kid, I had dreams like, man, I want my hair like that. But now I'm thinking like, man, why would I want my hair be like that?
Yeah,
it was the puffs. I don't know, Carver. You young.
Did they have little rubber bands?
Yeah, with the rubber band. Yeah.
Bands, yeah.
It was. I used to want my hair
it's
like that.
Like looking like a pygmy.
Right. Yeah, tripping.
Yeah.
I was.
No.
But I never even envisioned growing my hair out.
When I went to Mount St. Mary's, I had a bush like your Uncle Johnny. Johnny had the coldest. I had made my afro. But out east, people weren't wearing afros. Right. So I come back. I go. This is at the end of my sophomore year. I come back and I go to Mr. Lewis, and I cried when I saw that hair on the floor. Man, I just cried. So then it was like that. Then started rocking the waves, and which required a do-rag. Yeah, but to lay those waves down. Anyway, 414-444-5250, 414-5250. What's Catholic Memorial? Yeah, it was Catholic Memorial. That's correct. All right. So let's see what we talked about today. Let's do the shout out.
Okay. Let me pull it up. So I'm not a real news person, but I did see this cross my timeline on either Wednesday or yesterday, where it was this young man named AC Holland the third, and he was on the school bus coming from Glen Hills Middle School, and the bus driver was losing consciousness or something to that effect, and the young man, I believe, called 911, and that helped save some time into um potentially saving their lives and other people's lives. And so just wanted to give a quick shout out. I don't know the young man. I only heard about this off the news, and then I read a little bit of it. But
Mr. AC Hollins the
the
third.
third, yep.
AC Hollins the third. We're always talking about our young people, and we sending them to hell, right? I mean, they're just young, they're the worst. Well, every day there are young people out doing great things, doing what they're supposed to do, and I think we need to celebrate them.
And this was an unfortunate situation, but the blessing in this is that he was able to quickly think of a solution that was potentially life-saving. So I mean, I would always, when I used to work in after school programs, I would always talk through with the kids that I was working with, just random emergency situations. And I would tell them, you need to know your address, you need to know your phone number, you need to know your mom's number or work number. And if you have your own phone number, you need to start saving important people's numbers in your phone, and so and remembering them for you never know. You could be at the zoo and you not paying attention, and they make a left and you make a right, and now you lost in the zoo, and you got to figure out a way to get back to your parents.
That was the worst field trip ever, going to the zoo. And I hated it when I was a kid because we never seemed to be out there on a warm day. I don't know what that was. Racism. We could never get out there on a warm, sunny day.
We was out there on some hot days.
And then when I had the summer program, and that was a problem because the kids, they get lost, and then they were tutors, they're teenagers, so you know what they're doing. And so who's watching the kids?
Right. You just never know. And I always preach that to the kids. You just never know what happens. So you need to be knowing your address. You need to know phone numbers.
I wonder how many kids a lot of adults don't know addresses and phone numbers now. You just kind of go in. I was dropping Frankie off, and I said, "What's his address?" And he put dude's name in, and when he put his name in, his contact came up with the address. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning. How y'all doing this morning?
What's that?
Finding yourself?
I don't wear do-rag in public. Question is this: why do you pay extra in a black neighborhood for gas if you use your card, but you can go in the Caucasian neighborhood and you don't have to pay the cash? I mean, you don't have to pay the extra you can either use your card or you can pay with cash.
They're passing the service.
Price.
There's
no, they pimping us. That's why.
No,
that's what it is.
They pimping us.
They pimping you, but what they're doing is passing that 5%. I think it's just dropped to 3%, but there's a service charge.
It's always been like that, though.
No, cash and credit has always been different.
No, I'm talking about it's always higher gas in the hood than when you go out to Waukesha. The gas is cheaper.
Well, Waukesha.
But
go to Whitefish Bay and see how much you're paying for gas.
Go to who?
Whitefish Bay and see how much you're paying for gas. There's a gas station right there on the corner.
Whitefish Bay, Milwaukee County.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you
And,
go there,
and Whitefish Bay, you can, if you live in Whitefish Bay, you can afford to pay for extra.
there you go. Right. But let me say, but what they're doing is passing on.
Waukesha too.
They're passing on that 5% service charge that people when they use credit cards, and that's what they're doing, right? So I think they need to get to the point where people. You're right. I didn't think about that, but that's the 5% service charge when you use a credit card.
Right, but I'm saying you can go on, just go across Miller Parkway.
Mm-hmm.
You can go on the one side of Miller Park. I mean, the other side of the 175, and it's a service fee.
Right.
You get on the other side of town, there's no service fee, but it's the same gas station.
Yeah,
got the same name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
really believe that there is a ghetto tax.
It is. It
It's
is
a hood tax.
because because you can go there. They don't sell nothing hot flaming, but you can go on this side of town and everything in there say hot flaming.
Mm-hmm.
And we sitting here letting them poison us, and we ain't even seeing nothing.
So let me ask you a question. You like hot food, like spicy?
I don't even eat hot sauce on my chicken.
Okay.
I just started rocking with hot sauce. I wasn't really rocking with hot sauce like that. And I only started rocking with hot sauce on my fries. I never really put it on chicken.
What I'm amazed at is, and again, I don't remember us really being into the spicy foods, but these kids started a young age on those flaming hots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I mean,
but I stopped. But now I just started to get back into it.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be like this.
I be at work. I don't have, I don't leave sometimes, and I be hungry. I ain't ate all day. One of the clinicians, they have a lot of snacks.
Isn't that red dye number 5?
Yeah,
yellow 5.
Yeah, I think it's been that red dye that dye was carcinogen, so they don't use that. That used to be in the cherries. Was it Maraschino? Somebody help me, Maraschino cherries that they would put this dye in to make them redder than they really were. Yeah.
So what's in the hot flame is
yellow 5.
Apparently, yeah, but they're going
cayenne
crazy.
Pepper.
They said most of the people that eat those chips and hot flaming Cheetos are the ones that's doing the crazy stuff out here.
I ain't heard that.
I ain't gonna eat none. It's gonna make me act crazy.
Hey, I ain't heard that.
I mean, it's only happening in the hood. The stuff that's happening is in the hood where they sell the hot flames.
What about what they drinking? That ain't got them acting crazy.
Yeah, have you ever heard the term Mountain Dew teeth?
Yeah.
Okay. Mountain Dew teeth
I work with 2 people that got them.
Yeah, Mountain Dew teeth though is basically you find this in rural hill areas where they so dependent on these high sugar drinks that it rots their teeth.
I stopped drinking. I stopped drinking soda probably back in my early 20s. Okay. I'm just a water and juice person. I really have to crave soda.
Well, they say if you brush your teeth after drinking or eating sugary stuff, you'll save your teeth. So apparently they're not buying toothpaste up in the rural area.
Well, but they're poor people. And
you still have toothpaste?
Some people make the decision not going to buy toothpaste. I mean, when you're dealing with poor folks, people are making these economic decisions every day. And the reason why they're so dependent on like the sodas is probably because of hunger. And what that soda will do is satisfy your craving. Now, the problem becomes once that soda, the sugar high wears off, you're hungry again. And plus it's just not healthy. Sodas are not healthy even, so.
I had a nightmare after drinking Mountain Dew. I ain't never drank Mountain Dew again.
That's that caffeine.
Caffeine. They say it's bad for your kidneys too. So.
Oh, it's the caffeine level in it. Do you remember Jolt soda?
Yeah.
It was just caffeine and some coloring. I think they might have.
Well, they call that Red Bull now, don't they?
Yeah, that's Red Bull, which is basically caffeine.
Oh, I love Red Bull.
Yeah.
Hey, question is too, who has this idea that our kids don't need to be educated?
Some of us.
The school system. The MPS has my thought process that we're not going to educate these kids so we can have future prison inmates.
Okay.
From MPS to prison. That's what it seems like it's going.
Well, I know that they build prisons based on third grade test scores.
And they told us that as a kid. They told me that when I was young. So,
all right, man. Appreciate you. I'm up on the break. Yeah. You listen to Community Voices Friday. Joined in studio by Devon Jones, DJ the Protege. The phone line's open, 414-444-5250. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Community Voice. And again, caller, we thank you for your patience. Welcome to the program. Oh, I didn't know what you wanted me to do. I'm sorry. All right. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mr. Parris.
Good morning.
Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Assalamu alaikum to you, brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening yesterday, kind of like, I don't know if I was fully engaged, but I did hear some things with regard to the war in Gaza. And when you were talking to one of the callers, the person, what came off, or it was transmitted, at least over the airways from my listening, is that every time that you counter with factual information, and the person who was in disagreement with you, when they provided a counter to your counter, it came off as though it was more dismissive, and condescending and arrogant, as if it really didn't matter. It is, as you know, like how people jockey for attention or jockey for some type of recognition. Like, if you're presenting the facts, which are indisputable, yet they can be refuted, it does not mean that whoever is refuting your facts is telling the truth. And with regard to what's happening over there, even though Palestinians aren't like, we might not be like the same lineage or blood lineage, what is happening to them is a precursor, and it is the prelims for what is going to take place when everything just goes kaput. And I think I should say it like this. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that in the book, Message to the Black Man in America, that when the war starts, over there, when the War of Armageddon, which we are actually in, when it starts, that this is how America's power is going to be broke. That they're going to go off by maybe the hundreds of thousands, and they're going to be turned by the tens or 5 and 10 of thousands. And what people fail to realize is that what Israel is doing is it's a form of expansionism. They're expanding their territory. That's what they're trying to do, because they want to neutralize the Suez Canal. So that if the Suez Canal becomes ineffective, then that actually makes them a superpower over there, whereas they can dictate whatever it is that they desire to, because they have nuclear weapons in the desert. And America is providing these people the armament, but yet they're telling people in Gaza that we're here to help them. How can you, aid and abet Satan, and then yet present yourself as a savior? Huh?
All right. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, it is. It is. I got a call after I got off the air yesterday, and my friend said, "Well, are you on your way to Bible study?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." What this whole idea of end time and eschatology, which is like end time studies, and Armageddon is part of that, where we have this final global conflict, and then the Messiah comes. Part of that is why, again, you have so much support from evangelicals, particularly white evangelicals, because they don't want to be on the wrong side. And so they support Israel. And the problem with that is there are a lot of people, certainly people in that region, who have always looked at it. Israel is either being, since its formation in 1948, either being a illegitimate country or a pariah. The world has changed. I could remember, and it began to change in the 70s. I think 1972 Munich, and people remember there were 8 Israeli athletes who were killed in the 72 Olympic Games in Munich. And I think how the world began to view Israel began to change. Those folks who were really down for national liberation was never accepting of Israel and many of its Arab neighbors, and I use that term Arab, but many of its non-Israeli neighbors had issues there. And Christopher is correct. What was supposed to happen is the Golan Heights, which was part of Syria, was supposed to be returned to Syria. Israel has not done that. As a matter of fact, you have the Golan Heights, and there's one other area that's in dispute, where I think part of the Sinai. So there's real issues there. We're seeing college campuses now where people are in support of the Palestinian people there, but there is a media bias that skews towards Israel. And I was watching Newsmax, and Newsmax described the demonstrations as anti-Semitic. They weren't. They're pro-Palestinian. Now, I don't know what the chants are. There was a whole issue. Do Jewish students feel comfortable on some of these campuses? I don't know. I think that people do, because the First Amendment gives us the right, freedom of assembly and the freedom to be able to express ourselves in such a way. And there are people who disagree and with the foreign policy approach that America's taken. President Biden is in a very difficult situation because if he skews too much towards Israel, now you have, which he's filling in Michigan, where they have the largest, again, I'm going to use Arab population or Middle Eastern population in the country. Michigan is in play this year in terms of the election. And there are a lot of people who are very disappointed in how the Biden administration has responded to this crisis in Israel. The other piece of it is we just passed the aid package. And the question that people had was, is any of those munitions that you're sitting over there being used to kill innocent Palestinian people? So, look, no one is saying that what happened on October 7th wasn't horrendous. Nobody's saying that at all. But Israel is clearly sending a message that if you attack us, we're going to come back at you, I'd say, disproportionately higher than your attack on us. But here's the problem. Innocent children and civilians are being killed.
But are they going to do that with Iran?
They're itching for a fight with Iran. I think at this point, militarily, what they're able to do in terms of their Air Force, they would be able to, because they have bombed nuclear reactors in Iran. It was interesting that whole little Iran sent a message after Israel had killed some of its generals, that they sent a message. And so you go back, but then again, you have the Iron Dome or the Dome, which, shot down most of the missiles that sent in, and they targeted military installations. It wasn't civilian installations. So it is a very interesting thing, but let's not lose sight. Why is that it's so important? Christopher talked about the Suez Canal. We're talking about the Persian Gulf. Oil, man, oil. I had an opportunity a week ago to speak with U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin, and they're not running the ad anymore that I've seen, but they were running an ad basically implying that she wants to take away your what kind of engine is that? Combustible engine, cars that run on fossil fuel. And then when they have to do a disclaimer, like who put the ad up, we found out it was the fossil fuel folks, right? Who want you to continue to burn gas, to pollute the atmosphere. But here's the other thing with petroleum, folks, plastic. And so, yeah, the petroleum people, the fossil fuel people, they want us to use these cars that are just doing incredible damage to our environment, the atmosphere, all these toxins that are in the air. And so at some point, we're going to go to electric cars. It just seems to be, first of all, it's efficient. Secondly, whether people are telling you or not, fossil fuel is finite. Because of just how we just rape the earth in terms of getting the minerals from the earth. So, we will see. I was watching a documentary on Love Canal, and most people don't even remember. Those of us remember Love Canal. And what it was there were chemical companies up in Niagara Falls. This is Niagara Falls, and Love Canal was a community there. And right in the canal, they were dumping all of these chemicals. And people are developing cancer, women are having miscarriages, there's birth defects, and they encourage people to move in. Well, first of all, the company, I think it was Hooker, it's a chemical company, didn't do a very good job of disposing of the waste. EPA then at that point was very stringent in how you got rid of these toxic materials. They put them in the land. They built a playground that's something like 500 feet from a dump site.
Mm.
And they would show that it was a snowstorm that they had, I think 77. And what it did was it unearthed, because they didn't dig them deep. They just dig deep enough, and it unearthed and it unleashed all these chemicals into the water, into the soil. So yeah, there are pollutants out there. There are corporations out there who could care less about your health.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the dollar. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the Reverend Dr. Andrew Ward. I want to make at least two observations. One is to and for you. I've listened to you since you've been on. At first, I didn't like you because you were not as professorial as you are now. And listening to you today, you really showed yourself to be very much improved professorially. And you just have a good one, Reverend Dr. Keith Parris. One doctor to another. Have a good one.
I appreciate you, man. Yeah, those doctoral stripes really look good. I mean, if I need to
Yeah,
get
man, I
one,
wanna earn them one day.
Well, yeah, I got my little robe, man. I got my doctoral stripes on. I was thinking about that's interesting though. When you I was thinking about all the stuff one needs to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Learn how to do,
Mm-hmm.
and wow, there's so much out there to learn, man.
Yeah.
Man, so much.
My girlfriend, she gave you a good compliment. She said that you seem like you are a very well-rounded individual.
Seem that way, don't I?
And I said no, that he actually is. And she said, like, yeah, I could see that. Because we could be talking about a myriad of things, and a little bit or a lot on majority of the things that are brought up. Like,
because trivia is my life. It is. I mean, people think that all information at some point might be put to use, and so just always taking it in. I know we had talked about doing Hater Nation, so let me kind of get on my hate for today. So I'm in the store. And I'm looking as I'm waiting to check out, and I see, you had the magazine stand right there at the checkout counter. And I see a copy of People magazine. Guess who's on the cover of People's magazine?
Who?
John Legend. John Legend.
You still on that?
He did it again. He did it again. It's something like influential people. It's John Legend. This dude's too perfect, man. Caller, up to the program.
Good morning.
It's me again.
Yes, sir.
I failed to make an observation of the Protege. Same applies to him. He almost said it himself. He said his girl had told him the same thing. But there's a bottom line rule for people on the professorial level. And it's like a rhyme for your mind. At this particular time, unrehearsed will not be versed until they put me in my hearse. And that is, speak not on what you know not.
Right.
And y'all have a good one.
Okay. I can do an addendum to that. And if you don't know, act like you know. Sound like you know what you're talking about, even though you might not have a clue. That's the secret. Sound like you know. Well, God, he sounded like, I've had some people say some things to me on the air, and I'm going like, oh, man. And then I get to thinking like, wait a minute. That was some BS. What? But, they got me. They caught me. It sounded like they knew what they were talking about. It was just like, No, that ain't that. I know you remember this, Dr. Ward. You know, that dog ain't gonna hunt.
Is young.
Yeah. Okay.
You said what dog ain't gonna
That
hunt?
dog ain't gonna hunt. That dog over there.
The only dog, the same phrases with dogs is you can't teach a old dog new tricks, and then
You think that's true?
Yeah, and then
Well, why do you think that's true?
because after a while, I mean, we're creatures of habit,
Right.
And then after a while, you just set in your ways. So I mean, we talked about this in the past with a lot of things. You have to unlearn what you learned in order to begin to learn the actual real thing or a substantial process. But then the other one is only a hit dog will holler.
That's right. In a dark room.
Right.
Don't know that dog's name.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't seen that dog, but
Yeah.
throw a rock in that room and see
that's actually one of my favorite.
That's the only one that's hollering, the one that got hit.
Right.
Got hit. It is in the when you're preaching sometimes, one of the things we try to do is convict, right? Make people think, right? Have some, just take a look at your behavior and it's amazing sometimes. I'll never forget. I was mad. I was mad at somebody very close to me. I was angry, and I'll get up. Never preaching anger, but I'm angry. So I make all these points, hoping that the person I'm angry with will hear this. They didn't. Everybody else did. They didn't. You said I was talking about you, right? Oh, were you?
They probably knew.
No, I think I think sometimes it ain't. He ain't talking about me.
Right.
He talking about them other ones over there. It ain't me. So you try to direct that. Someone told the story. Pastor that he had gone out to pray for one of his parishioners, and she was in the room with another individual. So he came out and he prayed, and so he left. He get a call from the parishioner 2 days later saying, "You need to come back out here and pray." Because the person's in here with me, they got up and left, and I'm still there. So I think you missed when you prayed. So the wrong one got healed because I'm still out in the hospital. I said, "Man, you prayed and missed."
Yeah, man.
Overshot it.
Yeah, he just went over.
Yeah, you missed some things, man.
You need to come back out here. Because the other person got up, I'm healed, and then it was just like, hey, what about me? What about me? But yeah, I think want people to think, and thinking can be difficult. Thinking can be hard.
It can be dangerous too.
It can be dangerous. I tell people, when you say you're about the truth, and you pursue truth, that truth to its logical conclusion, it's going to be sometimes very uncomfortable. Because I know what I want the truth to be, but then the truth is what the truth is. And so I push back a lot of times with people who you feel so strongly, you believe so strongly. But the reality is we live in a fact-based, matter-based, substance world. That's the world that we live in, right? And your beliefs are one thing. Your beliefs helps you get through some things, but knowledge is important too.
Right.
The how to do something, what
process.
It is, the process, right, of how you're doing it. But you're right. It's just easy for me because I have a certain level of comfort in what I know. And as we get older, we begin to conflate. I do this a lot.
Oh, that's why
I do this a lot.
I say this all the time. I only speak on what I know.
All right. We're going to take a break. You listen to Community Voice Call. I see you. We'll grab you.
That ain't much.
Let's keep it moving.
That's why always so quiet, huh?
Oh, don't know much.
He just said himself.
I don't know much. I don't say much. Call, welcome to the program. Welcome to the program. Call and be patient with us. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
I know we.
Listen, everybody. Listen up good now.
Back to Community Voice. Caller, thank you for your patience. Welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning to you, Keith. I kind of got in here a little bit late, but you were talking about the cars and
You ain't
how
late. You on time.
Okay, well, thank you. Now you talking about the car transportation, and Christopher referred to the end times, and I know you pretty much a science buff. I think Christopher is too, but when we look at what's going on here, have you ever heard of a 15-minute city?
No.
Okay, well, that's what we're geared up towards. See, when you're talking about taking and I understand there's a big gripe about it's destroying the ozone and the green gases and all of this stuff, and that's fear, okay? And I'm not going to say that there shouldn't be something done about the environment. I think dropping bombs on Mother Earth is more detrimental than all of this other stuff, man. They constantly bombing. I mean, how much can she really take? However, when you look at these situations, even if you look at the way that they're doing our streets right now, this is done by design. Don't think it's got something to do with reckless driving. This is to usher in the 15-minute cities. See, when you get those cars, they want us to use scooters and all of that electrical stuff because that stuff is controllable. See, a bus engine that runs by gas is kind of like using money. It's kind of like, you're independent. You can do what you can move the way you want to move. You can't move the way you want to move with a Tesla car. All right. You just can't do it because it's not going to allow you to do it. Then they got these free charging stations. I mean, let's be realistic, man. This is a way of control. If you get in that Tesla car and they decide to shut down anything electrical, how do you move, Keith?
If you have an oil embargo and they shut down shipments of oil, how you gonna move?
Well, you can improvise with that.
How you gonna improvise if you don't have oil? If you don't have gasoline, how do you do that?
Brother, you can take vegetables. You can do all kind of things with oil.
At home? I'm gonna cook up my fuel at home.
Brother, I can take me some corn cobs, okay? I can take me some corn cobs and make corn whiskey that's powerful enough to start up any engine, depends on how long I allow it to ferment, okay? So there was a guy down in as a matter of fact, you can probably still buy that machine in Missouri. They had outlawed it. People was making their own gas.
Called stills.
Back in
yeah, they are outlawed. They were stills.
Huh?
It's the same process you use a still. Yeah, stills are outlawed.
Well, this guy had a machine though that was it wasn't directly set up like a steel. But however, listen. You can move around like that. You can't move around when they say shelter in place or you're stuck in a city. See, the cities is where we're going to catch a heck at because the rural areas, you might be able to wing it out for a little while before the government actually takes over. This is all about control, my man. See, you got to realize these people do stuff in 40-year increments.
Do you understand that your car,
people that are setting this stuff up,
depending on
long dead.
Depending on the age of your car, Meech.
We live for today, and and hopefully tomorrow might come.
Well, there were people who pushed back on cars when they thought the horses were better. But look, your cars run on computers now. Mm-hmm. I have cruise control in my car that literally, other than steering, drives the car. That's the computers, right? So, all right, appreciate you, man. I got a guess.
Hold on, brother. Why you running? Hold on, why you running?
I got a guess, man.
But I'm sorry, because I got something for that. You better get you some with some points and some plugs in it so you can move around when it's time to move around. Okay. And with that, I'll pass.
And a catalytic converter.
No, you don't even need none. You don't need none of that. Right. Man, you just keep doing what you're doing. I'm gonna teach my kids and these young folk how to move around to prep because you are. No, you just, man, I don't know. And you too smart for that one. I gotta go, man.
You had them lost for words at the end, man. I don't know.
It's obvious. We're in the studio.
But he did say you too smart.
You know what's
for
incredible,
that.
Pastor?
Yeah.
He can preach.
Yeah, right.
He can preach.
He's a preacher.
He can preach, man. Oh man, he played one of his tapes. One of my clergy brothers called me. We critiqued that bad boy. It was like, well, homiletically, how you put it together? He put it together, and he had a nice little delivery.
Oh, that was I don't think I ever heard a sermon heard around the town more than that one.
All she wanted was a quickie.
I don't think I've ever heard.
It's a
I don't
classic.
think I've ever heard people talk about that.
All she wanted was a quickie.
All she wanted was a quickie. or either all he wanted or she. I think all he wanted.
All he wanted
was a quickie.
That
David
was
the best sheep.
Ain't nobody. And
Okay.
we've had bishops.
Biblical story. They had like 6 kids together, so I don't know if that was a quickie, but
we've had bishops. We have esteemed pastors from other towns come in. I ain't that one.
Yeah.
I know everybody was talking about that.
That's up there with Who Let the Dogs Out.
Oh yeah, he lit the city up when he
Who
played
Let
that.
the Dogs Out.
He lit the city up.
We're joined in the studio by Pastor Greg Lewis, Souls to the Poles. What's up, my brother?
What's going on, Keith?
I can't call it my brother because we have been brothers for a long time.
I told you, I used to watch Keith play.
So that mean you older than him?
Yeah, Keith older than me.
Oh, Keith older than you.
Yeah.
Oh.
I used to watch him play.
When they said, man, I used to watch it like, dude, you 1 year behind me.
No, because you played for Urban League.
I played when you were at Laverne Way. I was playing for Franklin Place.
Franklin played. No, but you played for the Urban. What was that? Catholic school? Did you play for?
Oh, Dominican, man.
No, that's high school. I ain't talking about that. Oh, look at you. No, but really though, I used to watch Keith play, man. He must have been. He started early. Let me just say that.
You know what? It was interesting, man, because I was just thinking about because we were talking about DJ's Uncle Johnny.
Yes,
Johnny Jones had been in all those years.
That's where I played at. That's where I started playing at Laverne Way. Yeah,
and man, coming into that gym. That was a tough place to play.
Oh man,
that was a tough place.
You didn't come there unless you was ready
from there. That's why we was over at Franklin Place because I lived in that neighborhood. I knew all y'all. I lived in that neighborhood. My mama said that's not Franklin Place, man. It was just like because the bar way. Ooh, and it was so it's interesting because how we overlapped because we had people at Parkman, right? Yeah, who would end up going north. It was interesting. So. AFY back in the day,
man, it was like high school.
It was high school. Yeah. I mean, the crowds were there.
Room only.
It was just like you didn't want to play. You know what's hard to play was Lapham Park. Now the old social center down there.
Yeah, because you couldn't shoot in the corner.
Right there on the wall.
Right, you could shoot in the corner, man.
And let's shout out to Mr. Roy Hill.
Hey, man,
Mr. Roy Hill because Because AFY had started off as a track club.
Yeah.
Then he went football. Then he went basketball. And I played football. I did play Urban Day. I played football for Urban Day.
Urban Day.
Urban Day. That's
Urban Day.
We were awful. The Pacers.
Yeah.
We were awful, man.
Yeah, awful.
Not like that pro team, the Redskin Chargers.
Yeah, I was. Man. They had the big running backs, man. You know, I was a corner, so they come around that corner. I had a headache. All the cats were so big.
Man, they were like adults, man. We was in trouble when they pulling up for a youth football league in their car. It's just like, how old is that dude, man?
Lucky they didn't do concussions back then, man.
They're
I would have been
better
next
about
week.
Observing the age restrictions. When we was kids, man, you go like, that dude got a beard. There's no way he's 13 years old,
And
right?
running sweeps.
Right. Oh man, student body right. Student body right coming your way.
Like, here it comes. We had Mr. Carter, Mr. Winston. Boy, if you didn't get in there and get your head knocked off, you was gonna get it, man.
Joe Winston.
Yep. Joe Winston.
And then your coach, Winston. Your basketball coach was Dwayne Washington.
Yeah, man. We had great coaching back then too, man. I mean, really. I mean, I think the coaching in AFY was better than the coaching in high school. Back in those
Parkman,
days.
though, was like a college team.
It was like a college team.
And they had
ran the wheel.
Right?
They had those tear-off uniform.
Man, they were just like, and I went to Parkman.
I hated them.
Everybody hated Parkman. Everybody hated Parkman, man. Fred McCormick. But yeah, it was, and I know now we went to Warning, and now we have different leagues, AAU. But for us, and then we're still neighborhoods, right? So that's what made the Franklin Place team so interesting, because I'm playing with guys who are going to play at Lincoln.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I'll never forget, I'll move on from this. AFY banquet, my 9th grade year, we were at the Brown Bottle over in Port Washington.
Right.
And Earl Suttle, he was the keynote speaker.
Yeah.
And man, I was on the edge of my seat, man, because who didn't want to go to North? Who didn't want to play for Earl Suttle? And he just crushed my dream. He said, "You don't try out. I invite you out."
Is that what he said?
That's what he said.
Wow.
You don't try out, I invite you out. And then when I thought about it, yeah, because his boys are his boys. But yeah, that was it. So I knew I didn't have a shot at North.
And we had too many players at North. You know, we had like 2 other teams in the hallway, man.
Right.
It was like it was over. He recruited too many players.
And then there was guys who couldn't stay eligible.
Yeah.
You know, which was anyway. But that,
I mean, but you know, you could stay eligible if you just show up. It was ways of being eligible.
Right.
But it was one guy who really I thought was going to be super in high school. That was Cherokee, Anthony Gardner. Remember Cherokee?
We were just talking about Cherokee.
Cherokee.
Because he ended up coming. He played for Parkman his 9th grade year. He came from Peckham.
Yeah. No, he played with LeVar where he played with us.
He
his
did
9th grade year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He was going,
but
play
he's going
with
to Parkman. He went to Parkman.
Yeah,
he came
did.
to Parkman.
Right. Yeah, and then he came and played with us. Man, he was the baddest dude in town.
Him and Nathaniel, they were like over the rim.
Oh,
you see these
God.
guys, Nathaniel Collins, they was over the rim. And we middle school, these dudes are. And remember, we couldn't dunk.
Yeah,
we couldn't dunk. But those dudes, yeah. But his brother, man, was a god, Michael Gardner. Oh my God!
But see, back then Michael shot the hook though.
Oh, Michael was just so smooth.
But he didn't start shooting jumpers till he got to high school.
Well, man. That was that.
But he should shoot that hook, man.
That's 74.
He was playing
North.
for Channel 12.
Thank you. Say it one more time. Who was he playing for?
Channel
12. I have buddies who went to Wells.
Yeah.
That's the Wells Street School downtown
Wells.
where the rescue mission is now.
Yeah.
Channel 12 sponsored the team.
Yeah.
And so when you saw them at AFY, nobody called them Wells. They was Channel 12.
Channel 12.
Channel 12. I got a buddy, my good buddy, you know Freddie. Freddie, I'm going like, yeah, man, you went to WISN, didn't you?
No, but see, they didn't want to be called Wells.
Right.
Because of Wells.
WALES. Right. Wells, the detention center.
Yeah, detention center.
Yeah, so.
Because that's what I thought they was from at first. I was like, man, no, really. Because there was some rough customers, man.
Oh, that was just rough, man. You know, it was, your neighborhood was your neighborhood.
That's right.
Parkman went down to play Northside Y at Northside Y.
Yeah.
And Parkman was cold. They beat them.
Yeah.
But then the whole neighborhood showed up.
Yeah.
And those dudes came to school the next day talking about, man, we had people coming from everywhere trying to get at us.
Yeah, they had to run.
They had to run, man.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, we went over to our drill teams went over to Fulton.
Drill teams.
And they throwing rocks at the bus. So who was better, man? The Brothers Precision team with Parkman Vanguard.
Well, you know, Fred Gatson,
right?
The world-renowned choreographer,
right? Was
the choreographer for Fulton's drill team. So,
okay,
you know, need I say more? I mean, you know,
Kenny Lee. I can call some names.
Yeah.
Willie Wanzo Jr. posted on Facebook. He had a picture.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was in the Brothers Precision team. That was Mr. Golden, Lafayette Golden.
Man,
yeah,
man, you coming up with some man. I remember when they broke out with the robot, man. It was crazy. I was like, wow, man. The crowd went wild.
Carl Strong had this joke. Carl said, he said, look, you went to Parkman to be a militant. You went to Fulton to be an entertainer.
Yeah. That,
oh man,
that Carl, man, he was in every talent show there was.
Man.
LeVar Wave, Fulton, where was any of them?
And I tell you the one where you could really take a beating. The King. When King had their talent shows.
King.
Oh, dude. Ooh. Yeah, it was. I told people I couldn't have thought of a better place to grow up than Milwaukee.
Man, it was like, you know, we went to basketball camps, McGuire, Bucks camps. Yeah. You know, at LeVar Way, all the Bucks used to come through the place, man.
Because of soup.
You know, Big O, Bobby D, Flynn. You know, Flynn used to talk plenty of it.
Flynn Robinson.
And then guys from other teams, you know, Seattle Supersonics used to come through. Dennis Johnson used to be up on Franklin Square. Man, it was a basketball hub, man. It was something else back in those days. But anyway, man, I
right.
regress. I'm sorry. I
Actually, we're here.
Those were some great times. But I did used to watch Keith when I was younger. When he was playing.
You know, the crazy thing was
because Keith was always tall.
Yeah, relative, but that changed because everybody got taller. You know, I mean, somebody I was asking DJ what his number was in high school, and I had a chance to interview my high school coach. You know, we just our 50th year anniversary winning our first state championship. So he was talking, and he asked me. He said, because when I was emailing him, communicating, I would do #44. So he said, Keith, why did you choose number 44? He said, Donnie Anderson? I said, no, I like Donnie Anderson running style. No, it was David Thompson.
David Thompson.
It was David Thompson. And Kenny wore number 10. That was Walt Frazier.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Frazier.
And I don't know if people know this back in the day is not the case now. If you wore 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, 4-4, 5-5, those were attention-getting numbers. Like the double digit, like the 4-4.
Yeah.
And so if you like the better players, I wasn't, but the better players would have one of those double digit numbers. What is Caitlin Clark's number? 22. She's 22.
You know what? I don't even know.
Yeah,
man.
she's 22. And then we found we were going through. You wore 44 at home and 45 on the road.
Really?
Yeah. Our uniforms were.
You talking about Dominican?
Yeah. Yeah, our uniforms was because somebody said, man, I forgot about that. So if you see us in our green uniforms, it's the odd numbers. If you see us in the white uniform, it's the even numbers.
But that's back in the day when Dominican really set the standard, man.
I was just in the gym. A shameless plug. I was just in the gym, our West Wall. 14 championships.
Wow. Yeah, they set the standard,
1974.
Man.
And we went back to usual. But then Greg Dandridge got there, and then the rest is history, man. I mean, it just took off, and then it had a reputation for basketball where people wanted to go. You guys played.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you do? Y'all beat them?
No, we lost.
Okay. We have Greg Lewis in studio with us.
Who'd you play for? I'm sorry.
I went to Hope Christian.
Hope, yeah.
I never beat Marquette. Only beat Pius once. Beat St. Catherine's once when it mattered. But man, we never beat those schools. Last thing, then I'm gonna move on. 1974, we played North Division football. Y'all brought the band. Y'all had the pom pom squad. Y'all had that whole. I never forget because we were on the east side of the stadium. Y'all was on with y'all packed it out.
We won, right?
No, y'all lost. Well, the few teams we beat that year, and we didn't have a lot of fans because they weren't coming to King Stadium, right? And the white fans that were there, they sit next to me like, "Hey, they're gonna jump on me just like they jump on you."
Right. We didn't do stuff like
that. No, that's why we didn't stop having night football games because North and King never got in a fight after a night football game ever.
My mama graduated from North.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Y'all always had a reputation.
For what? Being great guys and great athletes. For what?
That too. That too.
No, but we really
boys.
We didn't really have a lot of fights at North, man.
You did at North.
Nah.
You did fight other schools.
Well, that's because every time we played, we never played a home game.
That's right, because you didn't have a gym.
We didn't have a gym or a football field, and the referees always cheated.
When you lose by 30, it's not the refs anymore. It's not the refs anymore.
We were doing the losing by 30.
But that 70-4 team,
yeah.
That 70-4 team, that was a great team.
Which one? With Mike and Herb?
Right.
Yeah.
That was a great team. But unfortunately,
yeah,
Lincoln was strong.
Oh, man. Lincoln had guards that were 6'5", 6'6". I mean,
Hodge.
My God.
They looked like pros. That team looked like a pro team.
Man, their center was 6'8". Man, big old, what was his name? The big husky guy.
Who was that? It was Gutter.
And then Gutter.
Luckett.
And Luckett, man, they was all
Hodge,
like
Griffin.
They look like pros.
The one thing that I do admire about North is that it has a rich alumni and a rich tradition.
Yeah,
my mama graduated from North.
My mom played in the band.
Oh, really?
She played the clarinet.
Yeah,
and she would just talk about how competitive it was to just
the musical
get
team.
on
Yeah,
line.
especially in bands and choirs, and because they went all over the world, man.
And I mean, when I was younger, it stopped now. But when I was younger, they would have an alumni basketball game.
Yep.
You know, North versus
Yes.
Lincoln.
Yes.
All the other schools, and I would be a little kid. I would just be like, wow.
Yeah, you know.
So it's very different from how it is now, but it just goes to show that like the caring of the school and the tradition and where you came from still matters.
Yeah, it really, and I'll tell you, because when we were AFY, you know, people recruited from all over the state. AFY, I could have went to JFK Prep, Dominican, Marquette, any of those schools. I told all of them, I'm going to North. You know, I said, I'm going to North
because he's
Division.
Earl Suttle's boy.
Yeah,
That's right.
See, you go.
Guys like us never got a fair shot.
No, really, I was like, man, I'm going to North, man. You know, because you know I lived on 15th and Center.
But the other thing about North was
you just walked up the street,
right? How cohesive. I mean,
now we tied it in the Masons,
right?
Man.
If you North,
right?
You know, North was
even today.
I mean, you know, it's kind of how we rolled at Parkman.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you even today you bump into people from Parkman and this BTT.
Yeah, we cared about each other.
My mom was just talking about some. I forget however many years she graduated, but a reunion. Yeah, she was just talking about that, and just to hear that people are still keeping that up.
Yep.
You know, for 50 years, you're gonna keep up with that.
Well, Vanessa Johnson is here. You know,
yes,
she could play.
Yeah,
Vanessa
she played basketball.
Right. And Vanessa was talking, and she said, "What did she say?" She said, "Yeah, I played basketball. Keith tried." Are you taking shots?
Say that this
year. Yeah. We know we grew up together.
Y'all must be really good friends.
Yeah, we grew up in Metropolitan, you know. So
yeah, because she lived on 15th and North. No, she didn't. No, that's Ricky. Yeah. Take that back. But she went to North Division. Yeah.
That was and look, it wasn't a lot of black people here. That's the thing that we missed. That it wasn't a lot of black people. So you knew everybody. I mean,
you knew everybody,
or you knew somebody that knew somebody.
Even it's like that right now. You cannot in our community. You cannot find a person that's not connected to North Division some kind of way. Either they worked there, they had relatives who went there, they went there themselves. That's really a serious connection here in the city, and you know, and I'm trying to find a way to really, bring about some type of connection that we can hold our community together and build together, like a block. That's what we're always trying to build, is a block of people working together to rebuild or redress our community. And that's one of the things that really occurred to me. There's hardly anybody in the city who don't have some connection to North Division High School if you were black. Yes.
And let me shout out that 1980 championship team you guys had.
I know,
with
man.
Mike Brown.
Yeah, man.
Bonji.
Yep.
That was
LA. That was a great.
And they were little.
Yeah.
But these dudes have been playing together. I think they came out the womb playing together because they were Columbia and LeVar Way.
Yeah, LeVar Way. And they played in the first basketball league that I started up on Hopkins Playground. All of them played in that league, man. And they stayed together all those years playing basketball and went to North. That was so ironic. They all stayed
together.
Yeah, and they just had a click, man. They just had
because you played. They would run together at Columbia.
Yep, Columbia.
All right, man. I'm sorry about that, DJ.
Yeah, man. We messing up, man.
Let me get this call and then we go get to
going off. Yeah.
Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
You're on there.
All righty. I was compelled to call in. North, Blue Devil, Express. Who that talking about beating them devils? Anyway, let me tell you something. I was compelled. Class 87. Hey, I went to college. Don't nobody even know I went to college. They say, where you go to school? North Division. So real quick, real short story. I'm a freshman. Play freshman basketball. Play freshman football too, but freshman basketball. And we going upstate. I think probably the last team to make it upstate was at 84 or whatever. But anyway, we had the pep rally. I'm sitting in the gym as a freshman. Man, you mentioned earlier the band come out there, the pom-pom squad, the heels. My exact words in that thing, I tell everybody, I said, I'm in the best school in the world. I love North Division, and rightfully so. One of them pom-pom captains later on, my senior year, that's my son's mama, great woman, and great. But I love North Division. Man, that's all I talk about. You can't say nothing about North. And that '86 team we had finally won city conference. Hadn't done that in a long time.
Right.
But nevertheless, enjoy y'all. Y'all have a wonderful.
Someone said, was that Douglas Larry?
What's that now?
Was that Douglas Larry on that team? 86
on
team?
the basketball team? Oh, the football team.
Basketball.
The football. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed. I switched to football. We won conference because we wasn't known for football, but we did win conference in '86. But that '84 team, that team had Thaddeus Ashley. It had Luckett, who was descendant of the other Luckett. It had Ivory, whose son ended up going to North later on, play football. But Bucket, we called him. Thaddeus Ashley, Terrence Taylor, Luckett, even the track star Kevin Oglesby.
Okay.
Curtis Kevin Oglesby, he had played on that team, but he
I didn't know Thea played on that team.
Thaddeus, oh man, he was a beast.
Yeah,
and
Thea
guess
could
what?
play. Thea could play.
And coach had him come off the bench.
Okay.
But yeah, that team was bad. It was, matter of fact, went upstate. In that year, that Racine Horlick had 2 D1 players, and one went to Madison. I can't think of the name, but we knocked them off, and then eventually lost to King, who was undefeated that year.
Oh yeah, that was.
They had the one, and I think he retired after. There was one black coach retired after that.
Fred Gordon.
Fred Gordon.
Who has
He
the
had that
distinction of winning
undefeated.
championships at Washington and at King.
Washington and King. Yes.
All right. All right, man. Appreciate you. Take a break. You listen to Community Voice. We're joined in the studio by Pastor Greg Lewis, and we're going to really get to what he came here to talk about. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
I always want to talk about North Division.
Hey, man, shout it out.
Hey Milwaukee, my name is Martina and I'm with the Independent Living Supports Pilot Program team. We help adults 55 plus and those 18 plus living with disabilities, providing up to $7,200 for home services, medical equipment, home modifications, and more. There's less than 30 days left to sign up for this program. See if you qualify today. Call 414-289-6874. Again, that's 414-289-6874. This program is made possible by Milwaukee County and Wisconsin Department of Health and Human Services.
Hello, I'm Vanessa, co-chair of the Juneteenth Vendors.
I am Frank, co-chair of the Juneteenth Volunteers.
Juneteenth is fastly approaching and space is always limited. So if you have an interest in being a vendor, you need to sign up today.
Juneteenth would not be successful unless we have volunteers. We need volunteers for a multitude of different areas. So companies, corporations, organizations, Divine Nine, even families, please sign up to be volunteers today.
So call Northcott Neighborhood House today at 414-372-3770.
Vendors and volunteers call today at 414-372-3770.
Thank you.
Get ready, Wisconsin. The Black Child Development Institute is expanding its village statewide. Join us for an unforgettable evening of celebration and empowerment at our gala on Saturday, May 4th, 2024 at the Hilton Milwaukee City Center. Tickets are available for $150 per person and sponsorships are available. Adorn yourself in formal African attire as we celebrate this momentous occasion and the growth of our village. For more information and to purchase tickets, call 414-236-5641 or visit bcdi-wisconsin.org. That is 414-236-5641 or bcdi-wisconsin.org. Don't miss out on this unforgettable event. Together, let's build a brighter future for Wisconsin's children.
What's up, Milwaukee? It's me, Mr. Debo, your host of the Blues Cafe. I'm inviting you to join me each and every Saturday right here on the all-new 860 WNOV and 106.5 for the best blues this side of the Mississippi. And get a little of this.
It's been too long, much too long.
And a little of that.
I stay ready, ready to ride. I know how to ride.
And at 11 o'clock, it's the Burnt Toast and Coffee Check-In. Your chance to take over the show and become the host for just a few doggone minutes. Sing happy birthday, get well son, send out condolences. I'm not sure of what it is, but you're invited to join us. You can have interviews with some of your favorite artists. We'll feature new music. It all happens each and every Saturday from 9 until 2, right here on 860 WNOV at 106.5 FM.
Now, back to Community Voice with your host, Keith Parris and Devon Jones, DJ The Protege.
Remix. You got it? Okay. All right. We're back and we're joined in studio by Pastor Greg Lewis again, Souls to the Polls. So let's talk about Souls to the Polls. And one of the things, and tell us what the Republican Party did. And the reason why this kind of really resonated with me, we did Election Central.
Yes.
And I remember coming in and Michelle said to me, dude, they overwhelmed. They had to shut down, rise to the poll.
Yeah.
But then when we look at that turnout, the turnout is not commensurate with the activity. So share what the Republican Party did to suppress the black vote.
Actually, the turnout was a lot higher than usual, Keith, because it's usually like 11%. It was 32% this time in the local election. That was really good. And it was raining. But
a lot of people voted early.
But what happened, right, and that's what we really pushed too. That's the next thing they're going to be after is the early voting, because they want to shut down our early voting site on Capitol Drive too. They don't like us using it, and people need to understand how important it is that we access our power, and that is so very important, because we have a population of 40% in this city. Mm-hmm. We need to have 40% of the power. Mm-hmm. We need to be making 40% of the decisions. We need to be doing all those things, and most of all, accessing 40% of the resources, which we really are far from doing. Anyway, so this guy, they had a plan to bless you. They had a plan to make sure that black and brown people didn't get rise to the polls. And I can't even tell you what they called the plan. Did you read it?
Yeah, he just said it was kind of one-on-one.
They called it Operation Rat.
Rat what?
Start with an F.
Oh. Oh, that was gonna do you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was Operation Rat.
Okay.
And that's what the operation was. And what they were going to do is they were going to clog up the lines for calling for rides. And somehow this reporter got wind of it, and they got these texts, and they were texting each other about making plans to do just that, to make sure that, folks didn't get out to vote. And so I got a call. No, I called the guy out in New Jersey, yesterday morning. It was early, like about 7:30. I called him. He said, "Hey, man," he said, "what's going on there? Didn't you see what happened?" I said, "No, man, I didn't see what happened." He said, "Look, man," and he showed me this article, and it was just putrid, man. It really was. And I said to him, "Well, we can't keep people from talking, man. He can say anything he want to say, and plus we give everybody rides, so I don't know what we can do about that." And then he said, "No, we got to talk about this because it's proof that, voter suppression is real and that racism is very, very real right now. So we have to talk about it." And they said, "Well, we need to get a press conference this afternoon and just call it out." And that's why we were out yesterday calling it out. But it was all about people making sure that that folks in our community don't get out to vote. And you know how frustrating it is to try to get folks out, Keith. I mean, they don't even want to go out now because people think their vote doesn't count. But that's what they want us to think, Keith. And that is just so untrue. Man, we have the power right now, especially when people don't vote, especially when there's low turnout. Man, we really could take over when there's low turnout.
Talk about what they ended up doing was so overwhelming. Your lines,
yes,
you had to shut down.
Yes,
and I remember, like I said, when we came in,
yeah, because
Michelle was like, "Oh man," because I was going places I'm seeing and numbers we're hearing, and then Michelle said, "Well, they had to shut down, show souls to the polls to rise." And we're, oh, okay, that's a good thing. That means that there's so many people interested in going. What we find out is now that actually what it was a trick. By some folks at the Republican Party here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, and it was said that they didn't follow through with the plan.
Oh yeah,
and I thought that it was a pretty decent turnout, 32% in a local election in Milwaukee. You know, I want to repeat this: the turnout is usually like 11%, but it was 32%. That's like 300 percent increase in people coming out to vote
from February to April.
Yeah, I mean, it was really I was so pleased. But that tells me this, man. that tells me that people are starting to understand power, first of all, and then it says that we can't stop our work because somebody's watching and somebody wants to stop it. So that means that we must be having an effect that they feel.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that what you're doing is positive, because I remember a time you said you don't remember me earlier, but you were here and we were talking about that they put you on an amendment with Kaepernick. Because
that's right. You didn't. Yeah, they wouldn't recognize.
And they didn't want to be recognizing you for Black History Month.
Right.
Because you were providing rides to the polls.
Troublemaker.
And so
agitator.
But then the city ended up having you on their amendment.
Exactly.
But statewide,
statewide they told the Black politicians who they could honor. And two people that they wanted to honor was, some others, but Colin Kaepernick and myself. They said they couldn't let they didn't want they said
I wonder why.
Because I talked about voter suppression.
Right.
So they didn't want to honor me, so they didn't.
I think that's around the time where you first started Souls to the Polls
when
too.
we were first getting going, man. And I was like, okay, if you let them tell you who you can honor in your own community, man, we really got a lot of work to do. But thanks, man. I hadn't thought about that, but I was in good company. I was with Kaepernick, I'm like, yeah. So, I felt good, but you know what though, Keith, the whole scenario of suppression, I don't take it personal because it's a systematic event in communities all over this country. I mean, when I say event, they planned, and it's almost like when we were young and we used to hear about lynchings, they planned to have a lynching. They planned to destroy communities. They planned to destroy us. And that's part of a system. If it was one person, it wouldn't bother me at all, but it's part of a systematic venture to make sure that we're not successful in having people understand how important it is that they come out and vote.
Have you thought of any ways that this could be prevented?
No, we working on that right now. But what we did is we had the press conference and we asked for an investigation by the state attorney general and the federal government. So, we want to see what's happening there, because that is such a
devious.
Yeah, but it's not just the one thing.
Right.
It's just all the things piling on together. You got a whole lot of suppression issues that we have to overcome, and people just don't believe in the system anymore, and they're tired. You know, I'm tired, but I just want to keep going.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. You on there?
Hi.
Hey, do me a favor.
Hey.
Can you turn down your radio because we're getting a little feedback?
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Hey, I just wanted, you guys are talking my language 100%, what I've been saying for years. Can you imagine if we could get 40% of Milwaukee to vote or 50%? You can control the state. You know what I mean?
What? We had some real good numbers, and unfortunately, he's not on the ballot. But in 2008 and 2012, we overperformed in terms of voter turnout. But there was a reason for that.
Well, that's good. See, I don't really know all the numbers, but
Yeah, but you know why, right?
because not
The
sure.
one.
Obama. Obama.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Well, we got Kamala.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Just keep on the good work.
Why you? Thank you. You as well. Why you say it like that? You was the one.
She went to Howard. That was the fitting because people were talking about she wasn't black and she was doing as attorney general out of California. And boy, but she went to Howard, and somebody goes, so? Like, well, no. If you look at it,
I think I'm the one that says so.
Yeah. When you look at it, though, that is an issue. So, we the economy is relatively good. We're still dealing with some real high prices.
You interviewed her.
I sure did.
Yeah,
I sure did.
Here?
Yes.
Wow.
Because when Kamala Harris wanted to get her message
had
out,
to be high.
no, she called me
on the phone.
Oh, she called it. Okay.
Now did have Eric Holder.
Okay.
We've had him twice. We had him. You met Eric, right?
No,
you never met him. Okay. That's the cool part about my job. The interesting people I get to have conversations with. It really is. I mean, people I would have never had a conversation with otherwise, but because when they want to get their message out, you know what they do? They call WNOV.
That's right, man. WNOV is the place.
The voice.
And we've been invited to be here on voting days, and this becomes Election Central. But see, the important thing about trying to get that message out yesterday, Keith, is that for people to finally realize and see, but not just black folks, but all folks to finally realize and see that when we talk about suppression and racism and, the supremacy thing, it's not just, us being paranoid. It's real. You got some people who just don't believe those things exist anymore.
Well, let me ask you, what clicked with you? In terms of you doing this shift, and again, we've known each other since we were like 12, 13, right?
Yeah.
What I had never sensed that you were political.
Right.
I saw what you were doing in terms of the vocation, religiously what you were doing.
Yeah.
And then I saw your community work. But how did you get to and I'm going to say the politics, not partisan, because you guys are nonpartisan. How did you get to this whole political piece in your life where you saw that politics could lead to positive changes?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question because, we had a problem with voting. I was in Personality. You guys know what Personality is. Titonia, Earl Butler. Personality, you ever been there? Personality. Well, anyway, I was in there and I was leaving to vote one day. And Earl said, man, where you going? I said, I'm going to vote. He said, what you going to vote for? I said, man, I always vote. He said, man, well, it don't really matter if you don't have a block. I said, wow. So I was walking out the door. I said, man, I'm going to get me a block. So then I started organizing the faith community. And, they didn't know me and I didn't know them. But, one question I asked all the pastors and leaders, I said, are you tired of being frustrated and powerless? And the answer to that question. And we just had a meeting at MATC, man. This is probably something that people still don't believe happened, but we had 300 senior pastors at a meeting at MATC, and we talked about the history of the church. We talked about education. We talked about politics, and we talked about finance. Those 4 subjects. And at the end, I asked people if they would band together and we could build a block of voters that could be effective here in Milwaukee. And on that day, out of that 364 agreed to join together in what we're calling now Pastors United. And after that, we recruited another 250. So we had over 300 pastors who committed to working together to do advocacy and community. And there, on that day we had a survey, and it's such a strange response to the survey, because we said, what's the most important thing in our community? We asked the faith community, and the number one thing they said was family structure. That just blew me away. And then second, it wasn't even economics. Secondly, it was health and wellness. Like, wow, we got these issues. And then third, it was economics and jobs. And fourth was crime and incarceration. Fifth was education. And then the sixth one was the politics. But
do you think
that ended up being our most powerful committee right now, is our Souls to the Polls initiative.
And so I've always loved what I don't know if it was Khrushchev who said, if you organize the eagles, the sparrows will follow.
And
but it's always been very difficult to enlist some Black clergy in this issues around justice. Is just the Million Man March. The most national religious organizations did not support the Million Man March, and in some instances condemned it, because of Farrakhan.
Right.
Not the issues of bringing together a million men, right, to talk about reconciliation. I wonder what it is. Is it just so much maybe we don't see the connection between our roles as clergy and then our responsibility as Christian clergy for justice?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because I think we have this idea that churches shouldn't get involved in our politics. And I said, wow, did you read the Bible? Because
until they want a loading zone in front of their church. No, really, right? That's politics, right?
Keep gonna get somebody in trouble.
I know. I got in trouble with y'all last time.
I heard about
that. No,
but I'm saying,
really,
that's politics, though, right?
You're right. Yes, you're absolutely right. And see, and what happens is, sometimes we just think that we have to be so religious that we just can't be practical. I mean, the Bible is a living word. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun, and every great idea possibly that you have certainly comes from that place. When you read that document, that Bible, you get ideas and you come to terms with what's a reality, and it seems to have a lot more strength for me when I follow the word of God. So you're absolutely right. People just don't believe that we should get involved in that. And that's, man, all the minor prophets, man, they all had problems with power, and they had to go to the power to discuss these problems. Look at John the Baptist. He got his head chopped off because he had problems with power. People have always stood up. Look at Jesus, because he had problems with power. And I'm saying that if you keep, now you know this, if we don't get involved, who's going to be involved? The enemy, the beast, the devil, Satan. If we don't put our hand in these issues, who's going to lead the issue? Who's going to lead the conversations?
And it has been I think because outside of the religious vocation, there were still things where I'm involved, right? But this whole issue of social justice, and I think that Jesus was about social justice, and I'm not maybe in the sense of how we envision social justice, but it was interesting because it was Jesus who pointed out to us that truth is liberating.
Yes.
And you shall know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the truth will
make you free.
Yeah.
It's liberating. So this idea that and plus there are challenges out there. And I understand, look, if we get them involved, so some folks, if it didn't impact them directly, then, but at the same time, and then there was something Dr. Demetrius Williams, we just had our spring workshop in the convention.
Wow.
And, we had clergy in.
Yeah, he wrote a book.
Oh man, yeah, he wrote a book.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have him on talk about that book.
Yeah,
I paid $80 for it.
But when you talk about social justice and church and religion, religion moves in a way that it speaks to you and how you are to conduct yourself, and then also how you treat others.
Yes.
Jesus was very big on treat those as I treated the church. And then when you talk about justice, it is the reaction or the result of that treatment of people. And so they both go hand in hand because, we are supposed to treat people right, whatever we deem right is. And then from that, the justice is the result of that treatment.
Yeah.
And so they both go hand in hand, and you can't have one without the other, especially if you are a person of clergy or if you're just a person of righteousness when responding and acting with others.
And it was interesting because when you look at it, unfortunately, because of just how virulent racism is, I have to not always, but I'm always coming from a lens of an oppressed people.
Yeah.
Right. And how do we get to the point where we get beyond now,
but see, Keith, you have a lot more patience than most of us who are going through the oppression.
Oh, I'm like you.
A lot of us, we think we're going to resolve this tomorrow, but it ain't.
But you can go to patience, or you can just go to a holistic perspective, because whenever you're in the moment, you're not thinking holistically. Exactly. You're just thinking in that moment.
Exactly.
But if you are thinking holistically, there is going to be some discernment there. Keith would always say wisdom, because you have those learned experience along the way.
Well, hopefully our moments lead us to movement.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
It is what Louis Farrakhan says. You have to have now verb agreement. What you declare then has to be actualized by what you do. I'm talking about what you declare, what you identify. Is one thing to we need to be free. Good. We're at that point. Now, what do we do to become free?
Right.
And that's where the heavy lifting starts.
Where the heavy lifting comes in. And that's that. See, and so what you made a valid point about, the results of what we and how we are treated and how we treat each other. Because, it's just like what we talked about on yesterday. Okay, so if we let this guy go along and and continue to just do anything he wants to do, suppress votes.
Kidding. I was just kidding.
If we let that happen, that's shame on us.
Mm-hmm.
You got to stand up for some stuff, man. Even though sometimes, it's just a crazy argument, because you would think that people would have common sense and they'd understand that that's just not something you do. But we don't live in days of common sense anymore. It's all about winning. It's all about power.
Well,
and what we don't want to do is
common sense has been long gone. People just ain't got no sense.
We don't want to access power, though. There's two things we're afraid of. We're scared of money, and we're afraid of power.
You're listening to Community Voice. We're up on the last break of the program. Joined in studio by Pastor Greg Lewis of So. Oh, that's what I was asking. Was I taking a break? Yeah, for me it is. Isn't it 10? It's 10 o'clock.
It's 10:52. The last break.
It's the last break. Hey, I want to be free.
Give us free.
I want my freedom.
Give us free.
Appreciate you.
What he said.
Yeah, what'd he say, man?
Let me thank DJ Devo.
Thank
Carvey.
you. Thank you.
Carvey. There you go. Good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody on Monday. Y'all have a safe weekend and go this place in peace. This spot.
60 and W293CX 106.5 Milwaukee.